Okay Woody, we're going to start getting you ready for a bit of Creance. You alright mate? You good Woody? Just having a little walk again. Monday morning, just weighed the hawk and I'm going to just reduce his weight in the minimal amount as possible. So I'm going to try and talk a little bit about weight management now, and this is all what I do with this hawk. I'm not saying it's going to work for anyone else, but this is what I do and the way we've done it. It's difficult to explain a lot of things, but I'm going to rabbit on for a little while, and by the end of it hopefully you'll have a little bit of a better idea of what we're doing. You could have a hawk that is too low in weight and that's literally on your shoulder and doesn't actually get away from you because it just keeps returning, then you know it's too low. Or on the other hand, you could have a hawk that you let go and sits up in a tree and you spend an hour or more trying to get it down, and believe you me, I've done that. So the hawk's weight really is quite a fluid subject. Each day you've got to look at that hawk and see what it's doing to adjust it for next time. It could be spot on one day and then I'll go out the next day and he's not really following on. The weather's changed, it might be windy, anything, just something small makes a lot of difference at times. If I make a mistake and his weight's too high and I'm standing at the bottom of a tree for an hour, that's not his fault, it's my fault. I think a big part of it, weight management, is it all varies as well on the bond you have with the hawk. The closer you are to the hawk, the more content the hawk is, then the more it's going to respond and be loyal at high weights. So, you know, never lie to the hawk. Every mistake we make is my mistake. When I first got this hawk, I had to bring his weight down more than I did on the second season, and certainly more than I'm going to do this season, because this hawk is so manned up now and he's been completely trusting me all through the molt. I don't think I'm going to have to drop his weight much at all. It's going to be more of a case that he just wants a bit of food, and I think he's going to be jumping to my fist just on that little bit of appetite. But at the moment he's got no appetite because he's eating so much food, but he only eats what he wants to eat. He's not filling his crop up. But when you bring them down a little bit, they tend to fill their crops up a little bit more than they do when you just got them at fat weight in captivity. But I'm sure end of this week this hawk will eat off my fist, if not jump from the perch to my fist. I think he'll even come on a Creance. I might be being a bit optimistic, with just a slight drop in weight. He's not got to battle any nerves like he would on a first season hawk, and then the weight generally has to come a little lower. But this hawk, he's going to be literally working on just appetite, I think, this week. That said, to be flying free, I don't know what weight we're going to be at. He might come on a Creance in the garden, but that may be in higher weight than we would go out on the first hunt with. Yeah, so what I don't want to be doing is trying to call him down from a tree for an hour or two. As I say, I've done it before and you do learn, but sometimes it's a bit of a learning curve which you wish you wasn't on, for sure. especially if it starts raining when you're trying to get them out of a tree. My goal is to get this hawk flying as heavy as I can get him by the end of the season. I like to see the hawk hunting just the same as he would at a low weight, with determination. But I try to achieve that with manning and getting him as calm as I can, rewarding him up on food when he catches, and I've got a feeling this season's going to be great. Unless you've done it a few times and got used to maybe a season or 2 seasons, it starts to become very clear. But the idea is to bring the hawk's weight down to a weight where he'd naturally hunt from if he was in the wild. So when you start reducing the weight, it's just bringing him down the small amount as possible. Now you could take a hawk, one of these, through a range of weights. So the weights, his flying weight, you could say, does vary. But I think if you get it right, you want to be at a weight where your hawk flies along. He will hunt, but he will come back if you call him. So you've got to find that balance where the hawk is following on, it's hunting, but it's fit like an athlete. So the question is, how do you know? How do you know what the weight should be? Well, that is experience, and you'll only get that, as I learned. You have an idea, but it's just getting to know your hawk, watching him. So what we do is I'm going to be lowering that weight through the week. I want him to have a good content, but without too much fat applying food. So I want to see his weight slowly dropping off. And at the moment the weather is warm, and in the warm weather these Harris hawks they appear to be living on fresh air. Sometimes they don't really eat that much, so you might give him a smaller amount and expect a drop in weight, and the weather's warm and there'll be hardly any reduction. I found the best way to shed weight is flying and his normal feed. I can judge that weight a lot better doing that. So, but we got to get to that stage, and the only way to get to that stage is I've got to see what he's like on that Creance. At the moment he's not eating off my fist because he's totally at fat weight, and I can go in and pick him up because I have done all through the molt, been picking him up, which, as I said before, I would never do if the hawk doesn't want to get on your fist. But this hawk been stepping on. I'm semi-retired that I can do this way. So I've got him out, he's still at fat weight, and now we're going to slowly reduce. Once he starts, if he doesn't eat off my glove, he's not going to come to me on a Creance. So I'll wait till he eats off my glove, then from his perch, and if that's all good, then I'll pop him on the Creance. I don't want him on that Creance for very long, the shortest term possible. Getting your hawk slowly fit and trying to increase the weight through the season. You certainly don't want to finish the season at the same weight as you started, so they should be increasing with confidence, so you can feed them more because everything's settling down, they're getting used to it. All them nerves and will make it necessary that perhaps the weight is slightly lighter, but as you go on, your aim is to increase his weight. Now you can have a hawk that's on your shoulder all the time. In my opinion, you're better off having a hawk that hunts like a demon through being comfortable, well manned up, happy, content, than a hawk that is underweight and hunting purely through just hunger. Now that is a fine balance between being so low that he's going to chase everything to the end, or being confident to chase it to the end because he knows he's getting a reward. With this Harris hawk, he knows I'm his hunting partner, and when he catches a rabbit, he knows I'm going to dispatch that rabbit, and also he'll sit on it and wait for me to open the rabbit up, so he doesn't even have to pluck it if he doesn't want to. Another little thing just to remember, I think is very important, is when you find your flying weight and you think, oh yeah, it's about it, that's not the flying weight, because that changes every day and it should be increasing in weight. So there is no set flying weight. You've got a parameter that you know roughly where you start, and it's an indication, but it's certainly fluid. It is something that you're only going to get through experience of watching the hawk. I'm lucky because I do it 7 days a week, so I can just fine tune as we go, and I literally really don't need to weigh the hawk. Just doing it by visual. I do weigh him because I like logging everything down, but just by watching the hawk every single day, I know exactly what's going on with it, and I can tell if his weight is too low or too high. Don't need to weigh him. So I put him on his perch, and normally at this point he has a little rouse. Today is Thursday. I started this video on Monday. So each day I've just dropped his food intake very, very slightly. He's going to make his own mind up now whether he wants to get on or not. So he had a little hesitation, but he did get up. He chose to get on my fist, which is nice to see. I'm going to weigh Woody now and see what he's dropped since Monday. Step, step. So Woody's dropped 1/8 of an ounce. Not sure what that is in grams. Knowing this hawk and how calm he is, I'm not going to need to take him down too much in weight before he's going to start responding to me. I'll go and get his favourite bit of chicken, just offer that bit of chicken up there and see if he will jump to me fist. In the previous video, if you saw it, he wouldn't eat off me fist, but I think he's going to do it today. Maybe if he works well today in this scenario, I might start getting him on the Creance weekend, but all I want to do now is see whether he's going to respond, and I'm pretty sure he will, because he's already very calm with me. Come on. You can see the response is so different from Monday already. And there you go, so he's going to eat off my fist now. So there's not much more of a leap between that and a bit of Creance. Get on there then. So when I feed the hawk, I put the meat there, so I'm using my fingers so I can press on them. Hawk stands there. He's having a little think now. Should I be on this feast eating? I'm going to give that to him because I think he's done quite well. I'm not even sure if he's that hungry enough to eat that. What he's just had there may be enough. But he did jump to my fist. No trouble at all. But once he'd had that first bit of chicken, then he thought better of it. But as I say, he's at fat weight. We just dropped him 1/8 of an ounce. So I'm really pleased. I will say don't expect too much from whatever hawk you've got. They're all going to be different, and this one's doing what he does. He just keeps throwing it on the floor now, doesn't even want it. But this is just the way I do it. This is a hawk that's handled regularly 7 days a week. If you can't do that, or you can't fly your hawk 7 days a week, and you can fly at weekends, my advice would be make sure that you spend as much time with that hawk as you can. Keep him manned up so he's lovely and calm. Calmer he is, the more manned up he is, the less you need to drop his weight. There's so much to it. And as I said earlier on, it's an experience thing, but I hope that what I've just shared gives someone that's just starting out a little insight. There's a lot more to it than what I've just been speaking about. Get the books out, keep studying, and enjoy your season. Today is Friday. I'm going to weigh the hawk. So literally he's hardly dropped any weight, but he's so comfortable with me, as I said earlier. I'm going to try him on a Creance just to see what he does do, because yesterday, Thursday, he did hop to my fist. But what I'm going to do first is actually put him down on this perch, because anything that's unusual can throw him off, especially because he's still only pretty much at fat weight. So I'm going to perch him out there for 10 minutes, let him get used to that, and then I'm going to come out and see if I can get him flying from there to my fist on his Creance. Quite optimistic. What I don't want to do now is upset him in any way, because that would be enough to stop him jumping at this high weight. So he's still pretty much the same as he was yesterday. So he really hasn't dropped much in weight at all. But this may seem a little strange to him, although he's gone on that perch quite nicely, so that's a good sign. Right, so there he is, he's on the Creance. I've got the Creance line if I need to slow him. But let's see, at the moment he's having a look down at the line. That's something different, he's not used to that, he's on a different perch. So he's checking it all out. Very optimistic. I don't think he's going to do this, but I'd just like to see how calm he is. Yeah, great. He was going to go off back to the perch with it then, but you can see from Monday, not eating off my fist, just a little bit of reduction in food, not much at all. He started responding now. He's quite happy. He's certainly not at flying weight, what we'd call flying weight, but I think that's quite amazing. He's done that with just that slight reduction. Next week's video will be Creance and free flight.